Some of the biggest plant-based and vegan brands are actually owned by companies that are heavily involved in the meat and dairy industry. In fact, one of them is owned by the biggest meat processor in the world. More on that later. Now, if you're watching this video, you might already be vegan or trying to reduce your consumption of animal products, or maybe you're just thinking about doing so. Whichever it is, when you buy your veggie sausages for this evening's dinner or the oat milk for your coffee, you probably don't want your money going to a company that is also profiting from the exploitation of animals. We actually looked at the issue in a previous video which covered Alpro, Provamil, Pure, Vitalite, and Linda McCartney. You can watch that video here. Before we delve into the brands themselves, let's just take a step back. Some of you may be thinking, surely it's a good thing if companies that used to make meat, dairy, and other animal products are now making plant-based ones. They're changing their evil ways and embarking on a more moral path. We wish this was the case, but the vast majority continue to supply animal products while also cashing in on the increasing demand for plant-based ones. That's capitalism for you. If it makes money, companies will probably do it. The way we see it is this. It's a good sign that big brands are now supplying plant-based products. It shows that more people are wanting to reduce their consumption of animals. But if you're buying plant-based foods because you're concerned for the environment or animal welfare or both, then surely you don't want your money going to a company that is making bean burgers with one hand while decapitating cows with the other. Vivera is a plant-based brand owned by Brazilian multinational JBS, the largest meat processing company in the world. When you look at Vivera's website, it isn't obvious who owns the company, which is usually a sign that they don't want you to know. But that's why we're here. We spend hours and hours digging around in dull corporate reports so that you don't have to. JBS, which also supplies KFC, McDonald's, Walmart, and Tesco, has the capacity to slaughter an estimated 4 billion chickens, 23 million cows, and 50 million pigs per year. The company has been heavily criticized over the years for many reasons, not just its industrial-scale animal slaughter. Numerous investigations by organizations including Greenpeace have linked JBS to large-scale destruction of the Amazon, causing huge damage to indigenous communities and the natural environment. Analysis Chain Reaction Research suggests that the deforestation footprint of JBS's indirect suppliers alone could be up to 1.5 million hectares over the last 15 years, the size of Northern Ireland. And if all that wasn't enough, in 2017, JBS was fined $3.2 billion, at the time the largest fine in Brazilian history, for bribing over 1,800 politicians. There aren't many companies out there that are more morally bankrupt than JBS. Oh, and guess which bank is the main creditor of JBS? Yep, you guessed it, Barclays. You can see our video on why you should boycott Barclays here. If you're finding this video useful, don't forget to click like, subscribe to our channel, and share this video with others. JBS also owns Richmond, the well-known sausage brand that has recently dipped its toes into the meat-free market. If there's one message you should take from our video, it is this: avoid Vivera and Richmond. Cracked is a brand that primarily sells a plant-based egg replacer, what it calls a no-egg egg. Anyway, the Cracked brand is owned by Noble Foods, the largest egg supplier in the UK, which owns brands such as Big and Fresh and Happy Eggs. But these eggs don't come from happy hens at all. In 2023, the company reported that 819,000 hens, 12% of its total, were confined to colony cages. These replaced the now banned traditional battery cages, but in reality are no better. And last up, we have Squeaky Bean, a plant-based brand that sells meat substitutes, including vegan chorizo and vegan pastrami. But is Squeaky Bean actually squeaky clean? Well, it's owned by the Complete Food Group, a UK company that owns brands including Pork Farms and Wrights. You don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to figure out what Pork Farm sells. It sells pork pies to be exact, and Wrights sells a range of products containing meat and dairy. Turns out that Squeaky Bean ain't really that squeaky clean. So there we go. 4 plant-based and vegan brands owned by not-so-vegan companies. But we want to be clear. If your only plant-based option is one of these brands, then go for it. Though maybe not if it's a brand owned by JBS. They're just too awful. Hopefully you'll have the choice of several, in which case you should be able to choose one whose ethics run throughout the whole company. That way your money won't be funding animal exploitation. To see our best buys and recommended brands for meat substitutes, check out our website. There's a link in the description below. You will need to be an ethical consumer subscriber to see how each brand scores. We're a small, not-for-profit organization, and it's through subscriptions that we fund our research, so please do consider subscribing if you can afford it. And remember, there are loads of protein-rich, vegan and plant-based options that aren't meat substitutes. Beans and pulses, for example, are unprocessed or minimally processed and are high in protein. They're also cheap and a great base for making your own burgers. You'll find a link to our guide to beans and pulses in the description below. Right, that's all from us. Thanks for watching, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And before you go, click like, turn on notifications, and subscribe to our channel. See you next time.